Hey everyone, I hope you had a great day. Let's take a look at some new malicious compliance stories. Please let me know what you think about today's stories. The first story is called Things Always Change. I work as a technical architect / product designer for a software company. At 24 years, you don't usually see a lot of people in that designation, so most of the new senior hires look down on me. I have been working hard at this place since this was a startup with less than 50 employees, hence I've done all sorts of jobs for this place. I have taken the letters to the post office and even cleaned the office on odd nights. Probably that, and maybe that I'm good at what I do, has helped me be very known and well liked by the CEO, CTO and people of those ranks. We got a new HR in October, and I was on medical leave during this time. Her designation says she's the senior HR executive and we call her Janice. When I joined back, I did not bother to inform her because I did not know she exists. Now that is kinda bad from my part, but I directly walked into the CEO's room. He hugged and welcomed me back. The HR director was also there. We spoke for 15 minutes, I was assigned my new project, and honestly, that was it. Most senior officials in office have their designated cabins, but we haven't put our names outside it. It's just named C1, C2 and so on. Ironically, we have our COO in C4 and he's always angry and willing to explode. But most of the employees sit outside with the team to work, probably because we are yet to get used to the luxury of a cabin. Janice just walks up to me and tells me that I am supposed to have my induction and joining back training to be conducted. I tell her that I would do it once I am free, as I have certain meetings aligned with my team already to understand the new project. But I think I annoyed her, as I immediately got a mail with the HR director looped. I cancelled my events and decided to attend her session, but I think I fell in her bad books that day. During the session, I said that I was unaware that this training was to be done. That is why I had set up meetings. Janice told me, "Things always change and it's your job to be aware." Honestly, a very beautiful and truthful sentence that I'm taking with me for the rest of my life. Months pass and I'm working from a client's office in the city, which means I just log into my building after winding up my task at the client's location. With the traffic, I reach back pretty late, around 11 PM. And I spend an hour or two here and call it a day. This is not normal. The task was tough, the timeline small. I guess you've all been there. One fine morning, I received a mail saying I'd have an inquiry this month, as I have been clocking less than 2 hours in the office. And that I have a one-on-one to explain to Janice why I wasn't here. Now I am annoyed. In all the years I have worked here, I was never asked in for an inquiry. What annoyed me even further was that I had to explain it to Janice of all the people. During my one-on-one, where a lot of HR associates were present, I tell Janice that I work out of the client's office. And that those 2 hours you see is me traveling over 20 kilometers from the client's place and then working from here after my time there. I also ping my CEO in the span, as I did not have the time for Janice's mess. The CEO walks in and we explain the whole situation to him, and he blasts Janice for asking me to explain stuff to her. He also tells her that I am working at the client side and that exempts me from these policies. He also adds that these policies don't apply to my kids. With that, he means the original 50 employees who built the stack up. She, now at a loss of words after understanding there's no point in messing with me, says, "But we were not informed of these changes." And I said in a Buddha-like voice, I'd like to believe that I did. Things always change, and it is your job to be aware. The next story is called Won't Respond. I worked for an IT company a while back and needed to do a return on a faulty computer component. My tickets would be constantly closed as complete from the vendor with no information given. We realize they use the same ticketing system as us due to a loop created by auto-responses back and forth from both systems. We stopped the issue on our side and said, "Oh well, that's good to know." After a few weeks and over 50 tickets, I was no closer to a resolution. My strategy at the time was spamming them with tickets, as they were very easy to create in their system. I tried calling, I'd leave voicemails, but messages stated all returns are done via their online ticketing systems. Okay. I sent my ticket to every department several times a day, after getting no response from the returns department or my voicemails. Clearly, the tickets could be closed just as easily on their end with no care or repercussion. Then I realized I had the answer all along. I asked my boss to remove the new rules he had implemented to stop the loop of responses. He set another rule to basically auto-clear the response right after it's received, and we have already auto-responded. This was to ensure it doesn't crash the ticketing system, given this was generating a response every few seconds, and I was going to do this on 5 tickets. These responses also generate an email being sent back and forth. That should make for several hundred emails per minute. Better yet, I'm fairly certain images were getting relayed with each response. On an older or poorly set up system, that's a whole lot of traffic and data coming in. Even worse if no one there knows what's happening or how to stop it. Many companies don't have an IT department due to overall needs. They outsource to companies like mine to fulfill those needs. It took less than an hour. We received a frantic call from the vendor asking to stop the auto-responses from our system because they didn't know how. It had basically taken down the email server because it was full and no one knew how to fix it. Sorry about that, I'm glad you called though. I wasn't sure anyone worked at your company because I've been trying to contact you for weeks. We didn't notice a problem on our end, but we can see what's going on now. Must be a different setup. Weird. I had a credit for the part before we ended the call. I hung up the phone victorious, called the boss and told him to put the rule back. We never bought from them again. I hope you enjoyed today's video so far. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And don't forget to press the like button, it really helps. And now, on to the last story. The last story is called Boss, that was a big mistake. Nearly 2 years ago, I started working at a company as a digital marketing person, not in the US. After I started, it turned out that I was brought in to put out the fires left by my predecessor, the vice president of marketing. He had a team of 4 plus himself, spent over 1 million in 1 year and brought in 5 deals, 2 of them for under 10k. As you can well imagine, after a performance like that, I had lots of work to do and very little to do it with. Aside from 1 or 2 paid tools, everything else was to be done using free tools only. I'm gonna do some bragging here. I beat the previous year's figures in all categories with 10% of the budget. When I started, I thought Bossman, the founder and CEO, had a really good management style. He was saying things like, "Your successes are yours, your mistakes are mine," and "the enemy of good is great." I don't expect perfection, I want you to make sure things work and get them done. In essence, I was allowed to run my own one-man department and outsource freelancers. And as long as I was getting results, he left me alone. Since I was the only person on the marketing team, I also had to learn a large number of skills and platforms that weren't directly related to digital marketing. Not to say everything was perfect, but things were pretty good. One of the main things that weren't perfect was that Bossman had serious anger management issues. As I said before, he left me alone, but I saw him blow up at and fire other people for stupid things. He lost it at me too, once or twice, but he'd calm down after a couple of hours and things would be back to normal. As the year came to an end, I approached the boss and initiated a performance review. I ran him through everything I had done in the past year, and he was pretty surprised at how much I had done with so little. I asked him for a raise, pointing out that I was currently making 8,000 per month in the local currency, when people with my now augmented skill set were making 13,000 to 14,000 per month. I asked him for 12,000. He said he'd get back to me and never did. Every time I asked him about my raise, he had another excuse. After the last excuse, I began looking for something else. The other day we had a meeting, and it turns out that 2 months ago I made a mistake. It wasn't a critical mistake, and it was rectified within a few hours of discovering the mistake. No harm or damage was caused whatsoever to the company, but Bossman flipping lost it. I mean, slamming on the tables, yelling for the whole office to hear, what have you. Then he said the magic words. Pack your things up and go home. Think about whether you want to keep working here. So that's what I did. And 10 seconds later I said, no, I don't. I started packing my things up while he turned an even deeper shade of red and got even louder. I didn't answer him at all, just kept on packing my things and saying goodbye to my colleagues. Turns out that being ignored really pushed his buttons, to the point where he started threatening to call security to have me removed, while I was actively removing myself and my things from the office. Here's the part where it gets beautiful. My country is very strict on employees' rights. Sorry Americans, I feel your pain. His words and behavior are considered an improper dismissal. By law, he's required to give me 30 days notice of dismissal, which he didn't. When he realized his mistake, he convened a pre-dismissal hearing. But it was already too late. He's opened himself up to a lawsuit, which I'm already talking with lawyers about. Because by law, he has to give me those 30 days notice, even though he already fired me. For the next 30 days I'm eligible for all the benefits and social rights in my salary. But I can do nothing for him, and there's nothing he can do to me without making the incoming lawsuit 10 times worse. I've already got 4 interviews lined up for next week, paying almost double what boss was paying me. And best of all, I'll be interviewing for other places on his dime. The cherry on top is that because I'm the only marketing person, without me nothing happens in the marketing department for the next month. And if he doesn't hire someone on in time, I won't be around to answer any questions the new person might have. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please leave a like. And if you want to see more videos, don't forget to subscribe. Have a great day and stay safe. Bye bye.